In Return of the Jedi, almost everything came to life. From unbelievable inventions to creatures you possibly couldn't have dreamed of, the crew ensured we got the very best. If you've ever wondered what the producers did to give us those blockbusters behind the scenes, count yourself lucky because this is your secret pass. Take a seat as we show you how writer-director George Lucas and his crew made the impossible possible. A movie about empires and galaxies had to feel very big. However, making something that big cost a lot, and George Lucas had to find a way to make it work without spending too much. One of the tricks they used was matte paintings. These were large, detailed paintings on clear plexiglass, with part of the glass left open so they could film real actors in front of it. The artists had to make sure their paintings matched the camera's angle, lighting, and colors perfectly, so everything looked like it belonged in the same world. But using models and matte paintings wasn't enough. The team also had to push the limits of special effects. Some of the most exciting scenes in the movie were the space battles. The problem was, at the time, spaceship effects in movies were stiff and slow. That wouldn't work for what Lucas had in mind. To solve this, he created his own special effects company, Industrial Light and Magic, which is still one of the best in the industry today. To show his team what he wanted, Lucas gave them real footage of World War II dogfights, fast, intense air battles to inspire them. His goal was to make space battles feel just as thrilling and fast-paced as real war in the sky. So, to bring the space battles to life, the crew invented a special camera system called the Dijkstraflex. This system uses a computer to control the camera's movement, which gives room for smooth and complex shots like panning, tilting, and zooming in. Instead of moving the spaceship models, they placed them in front of a blue screen and moved the camera around them. Later, they replaced the blue screen with a space background, making it look like the ships were flying, twisting, and turning at high speeds. The computers they used were much weaker than modern computers. It couldn't just run pre-made software, so the team had to build their hardware and manually program every movement into the machine. Each camera move had to be carefully planned and entered by hand, a slow and difficult process. But this system had a big advantage. Since the team could now film the spaceships in real time, the camera captured natural motion blur, just like in real life. This made the ships feel fast and realistic instead of stiff and fake. After filming, the blue screen footage was processed through special filters, turning the blue into black so it could be replaced with the final background. For his galaxy far, far away, George Lucas wanted to create rich and detailed alien worlds, but doing that on an $11 million budget wasn't easy. While that was a lot for a sci-fi movie at the time, it still wasn't enough to build massive, otherworldly sets without cutting corners. Lucas and his cinematographer, Gilbert Taylor, refused to sacrifice image quality. They chose a mix of Panavision cameras and an RE35 IIC, paired with Panavision C-series lenses, to capture the movie in a cinematic and immersive way. Now, let's take a look at what these cameras were able to film, starting with practical effects. Instead of relying only on expensive visual effects, Lucas put together a team of experts to create physical, on-set effects that were both affordable and impressive. Their goal was simple: bring the movie's world to life while controlling costs. And they did just beautifully well, especially with the next one. Luke's land speeder and other speeders used in the movie perfectly exemplifies how practical tricks brought the movie's world to life. Instead of relying on expensive special effects, the team used clever in-camera solutions to make it look like the speeder was floating. For some shots, they put the vehicle on a crane arm, which allows it to move smoothly while keeping it off the ground. In other scenes, they placed a small car inside the speeder model so it could drive across the desert. This change forced the design team to rethink the look of the land speeder. Originally, it was supposed to resemble a flying saucer, but since it needed to be close to the ground, they adjusted its shape to something sleeker and more practical. To hide the wheels and maintain the illusion that the speeder was above the ground, the crew used a simple but effective trick. They attached mirrors to the sides of the vehicle. These mirrors reflected the surrounding desert and blended the bottom of the speeder into the landscape, so the wheels disappeared from view. Remember the Rancor monsters? These being came about because George Lucas simply said, "Hey, we need a big monster for the movie." His original idea was to have someone wear a suit to play the creature. To plan this out, the team created animatics, which today would be called pre-visualization, to test how the monster would move. A crew member suited up and tried to bring the Rancor to life, but it didn't look convincing. The movements felt stiff, and the creature wasn't as intimidating as they had hoped. Realizing the suit idea wasn't working, the team started looking for another solution. That's when someone suggested using a puppet instead. This change made all the difference. They built a detailed miniature Rancor with mechanical rods controlling its legs, arms, and mouth. One puppeteer operated the limbs, while another controlled the finer movements. To make the Rancor feel even more lifelike, they left a hole in the back of the puppet where a crew member could reach in and control extra movements by hand. This gave the creature more personality, making it feel alive rather than just another movie prop. No matter how impressive the special effects were, they wouldn't feel real without a great soundscape. The role of a sound designer wasn't widely recognized in filmmaking until Star Wars changed how sound was used in movies. Ben Burtt, the film's sound designer, had to get creative to invent the now famous sounds of the Star Wars universe. Take the lightsaber, for example. That humming, buzzing sound came from two unexpected sources: an old film projector's hum and a television set's electronic buzz. To make the sound feel like it was moving through the air, Burt played it through a speaker and swung a microphone in front of it. This movement caused the sound's pitch to shift, making it seem like the lightsaber was slicing through space. Burt also used advanced synthesizers to bring characters like R2-D2 to life. Instead of just using robotic beeps and tones, he blended mechanical sounds with his own voice, tweaking them to give R2 a personality. One of the most unforgettable sounds in the film is Darth Vader's breathing. To get that deep, mechanical breath, Burt placed a microphone next to a scuba diving regulator and recorded the air passing through it. Then, he slowed it down to make it sound heavier and more intimidating. But this wasn't something he got right on the first try. It took several attempts to find the perfect balance between human and machine, creating the eerie, unforgettable breathing that defines Vader. Most Star Wars fans would agree that Ewoks look a lot like teddy bears, but stuffed animals weren't actually the inspiration. George Lucas based them on one of his dogs. Working with makeup artist Stuart Freeborn, Lucas designed the Ewoks using the Brussels Griffon, a small dog breed with a round face, big eyes, and short ears, just like the creatures in the movie. Even though the dog's features helped shape the design, the Ewoks underwent many changes before Lucas was happy with them. Originally, the idea was for them to be a smaller version of Wookiees. Short, furry, but still somewhat human-like in shape. Early designs looked like little men in suits, but something about them felt off. To fix this, the team added more fur and made the eyes larger, making them look more like animals than humans. But since Ewoks were meant to be small, kids were chosen to wear the costumes and bring the characters to life. So remember that those aren't real creatures the next time you watch Return of the Jedi. They're real actors, mostly children, inside carefully designed suits. And with that, we wrap it up on Return of the Jedi's behind the scenes. Let us know which of these behind the scenes surprises blew your mind the most in the comments section.